The realm of the mind. Introduction. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning, and before you even open your eyes, a thought crosses your mind. I'm exhausted. You haven't moved a muscle, but already your brain believes you. It releases the chemistry of fatigue. Your breathing becomes shallow, your posture curves inward, and your day quietly inherits the tone of that single sentence. Now imagine another morning. You wake up and think, today, I'm grateful to be alive. Nothing outside has changed, but your body begins to shift. Shoulders straighten, your heartbeat steadies, and something invisible inside you starts to lift. Because your brain doesn't distinguish between what is real and what you repeatedly imagine, it simply obeys. Most people live their entire lives without realizing this. They think they are victims of circumstance, when in reality they are victims of unconscious repetition. They replay the same thoughts every morning, feel the same emotions every afternoon, and expect the same outcomes every night. Their mind is locked in a loop of memory, and their body follows faithfully. It's not because they lack discipline or intelligence. It's because the brain is efficient. It prefers what's familiar over what's right. So it repeats, rewires, and reinforces whatever you feed it most often, even if it drains you. That's why you can feel exhausted after doing nothing, anxious without a reason, or restless even in silence. Your mind isn't broken. It's just trained by years of unconscious programming. But what if that could change? What if the exhaustion wasn't physical, but electrical, a pattern in your neurons? And what if you could rewrite that pattern, using the same force that created it, thought? You don't need to escape your mind. You need to learn how to speak the language. Because every thought is an electrical command, every emotion is a magnetic field, and together they form the energy that creates your reality. When you think one thing but feel another, I want peace, while holding anger, you send mixed signals to the body. Your energy splits, your focus fractures, and life mirrors that incoherence right back at you. But when your thoughts and feelings align, when your mind and heart begin to move in the same rhythm, something extraordinary happens. The body finds balance. The brain reorganizes. Energy that was once scattered returns to you as clarity, as calm, as power. You don't have to meditate for hours or chase perfection. You only need to start small. A minute of silence each morning, a few conscious breaths before reacting, a daily moment of gratitude that tells your nervous system, this is who I choose to be. In those quiet seconds, your brain begins to rewire. Neurons form new alliances. Old emotional signatures fade. The body learns that safety is not outside and it's within. That's the real science of transformation. You train your mind not by forcing it, but by showing it a new way to feel. So as you listen to this audiobook, don't try to believe anything. Just notice. Notice how your thoughts feel inside your body. Notice what expands you and what contracts you, because awareness is the beginning of change. In time, you'll see. Your reality isn't created by what happens to you, but by the energy you project into what happens. When you think clearly and feel deeply, your entire frequency shifts, and reality has no choice but to rearrange itself around that vibration. So, take one breath, right now. Inhale slowly through your nose, hold for a moment, exhale through your mouth, as if releasing everything heavy. That's it. You've just taken your first step, from unconscious reaction to conscious creation. Now we begin. Welcome to the realm of the mind. Chapter 1. The Obedient Brain. The mind is not cruel, it's not chaotic, it's simply obedient. Every day it waits for your first command, and it follows. If the first thought you give it is worry, it prepares for battle. If the first thought you give it is peace, it opens its gates to calm. The brain doesn't argue with you, it doesn't ask if you're sure. It takes every repeated idea as an instruction, every emotion has an order, and with perfect loyalty, it builds the chemistry to match. That's why some people live in constant tension without realizing it. They've been giving their brain the same command for years, be on alert. So the brain, faithfully, stays ready to defend. Most of what you feel each day isn't random, It's programmed. The way you react to pressure, the thoughts that come back when you're tired, even the tone of your inner voice, all of it is learned repetition. You've practiced being yourself so well that it has become automatic. And when the same thoughts keep firing, the same emotions keep circulating through your body like an echo, this is how people become addicted to their own stress, not because they want it, but because the body has memorized it. The nervous system craves what's familiar even when it hurts. It mistakes predictable pain for safety. That's how deeply loyalty runs in your biology. And so the brain keeps obeying, sending cortisol where it isn't needed, flooding the body with adrenaline for imagined threats, keeping the muscles tense even in silence. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means your brain is still trying to protect you from a danger that doesn't exist anymore. The question is, if the brain is this obedient, what would happen if you began to give it better orders? What if instead of repeating your fears, you began rehearsing your freedom? What if instead of saying, "I can't calm down," you said, "I'm learning to relax"? Every new thought is a spark. If you hold that spark long enough, it becomes a circuit, and circuits become habits of being. It's not magic, it's physics. Energy flows where attention goes. So when you start choosing thoughts that make you expand instead of contract, you begin redirecting the electrical traffic of your mind. That's how change begins. Not through force, but through consistent redirection. Here's the first exercise. Call it the 30-second reset. When your mind feels scattered, pause, right where you are. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 counts. Hold it gently for 2. Exhale through your mouth as if blowing out a candle for 6 slow counts. Do this once, then again. 3 times is enough. You'll feel it, a subtle shift, like your whole body exhaling with you. That's not imagination. It's your vagus nerve, the great messenger between brain and body, telling every system to stand down. Now your brain can listen again. That's the secret to mental clarity. It's not about thinking harder. It's about teaching your nervous system how to stop fighting itself, because once the body feels safe, the mind can begin to rewire. Over time, practice replacing one automatic reaction each day. Instead of frustration, breathe. Instead of doubt, say, "I'm learning." Instead of rushing, pause. These small moments are how the brain learns new obedience, not to fear, but to your conscious choice. You are not your thoughts. You are the one giving them orders. And every time you choose awareness over reaction, you reprogram the lab of your own biology. You create new synapses, new chemistry, new energy. Your brain begins to look forward to calm, the same way it once anticipated chaos. This is how mastery begins. Not in grand gestures, but in the tiny, repeated decisions that teach your mind. Who is really in charge? So, as you move through your day, remember this truth. Your brain is listening. Give it something worth obeying. In the next chapter, we'll explore what happens when thought turns into energy. How invisible emotion becomes visible reality. You'll learn why your brain waves, heart rhythm, and feelings must speak the same language to unlock real coherence, because once the obedient brain learns harmony, it becomes the creative mind. Chapter 2. The Energy of Thought. Every thought is a spark, invisible, silent, but powerful enough to alter the rhythm of your entire body. It begins as a faint pulse deep within the neural labyrinth of your brain. A flash of electricity leaping from one cell to another, a chemical message carried through the bloodstream, a signal that says, "This is who I am, this is what I expect." You don't see it. But that small electrical event starts a chain reaction. Your heart adjusts its rhythm, your muscles tighten or release, your breath becomes shallow or deep. One thought, that's all it takes to change your internal weather. When you think of peace, the brain releases serotonin and oxytocin, opening the body into warmth and safety. When you think of fear, adrenaline surges, cortisol floods your bloodstream, and your perception narrows to survival. You may not notice, but your thoughts are constantly sculpting the chemistry of your being. They're building invisible bridges between your mind and your body, telling every cell how to behave. That's not poetry. It's physics. It's biology. It's the quiet science of energy in motion. The tragedy is that most people live unaware of this inner machinery. They treat their thoughts like background noise, unimportant, harmless, random. But nothing you think is ever neutral. Each thought carries an electrical charge, and each emotion that follows it carries a magnetic field. Together, they create the energetic blueprint you radiate into the world. If you live in constant self-doubt, that frequency ripples outward, and life begins to mirror it back through experiences, people, and situations that confirm what you believe. It's not that the universe is punishing you, it's that it's responding to your broadcast. The mind is the transmitter. The body is the amplifier. What you continually send out, consciously or not, is what reality eventually reflects. Think about how easily one anxious thought can multiply. You wake up slightly uneasy. Then you check your phone, see a message, and feel tension rise. That tension colors your tone, affects your interactions, and by midday, you're surrounded by a world that seems stressful. But it started as a single pulse, one tiny spark, that set your inner frequency to chaos. This is how mental noise becomes physical exhaustion. It's why a day spent worrying drains you more than a day spent working. Because thought consumes energy, the brain runs on electricity, and chronic negative thinking burns it faster than you can restore it. We live in a society addicted to overthinking. We glorify busyness, but our neurons pay the price. Every unnecessary worry, every judgment, every replay of the past. It is a current that short-circuits your vitality. The result? Mental fatigue, emotional dullness, physical heaviness. You can't create new possibilities, while your energy is being devoured by your own unconscious thinking. But what if you could reverse it? What if, instead of your thoughts draining your energy, could they recharge it? The same process that collapses your energy can expand it, because energy follows focus. When you think deliberately, not with anxiety, but with clarity and emotion, you begin to send coherent electrical signals through your nervous system. Your brain stops firing chaotically and starts pulsing in rhythm with your heart. That rhythm is called coherence. It's the moment your thoughts and emotions begin to agree. And when they do, you create a measurable electromagnetic field around you, a frequency of harmony that other people can literally feel. You've sensed this before. You walk into a room where someone is calm, and without a word, you feel safe. Or you enter a space charged with tension, and your body stiffens instantly. This is energetic communication, the silent dialogue of frequencies between living systems. Your nervous system is both the speaker and the receiver in that exchange. So the question isn't whether you're radiating energy. The question is, what kind of energy are you sending out? Every thought carries a tone, and that tone tunes your reality. When your inner music is discordant, you live in dissonance. When it's harmonious, everything around you begins to align. You can begin to shift this energy right now, not by forcing positive thoughts, but by creating emotional coherence. Try this. Sit quietly for 1 minute. Close your eyes. Place a hand over your heart. Breathe slowly, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Now bring to mind one thing that makes you feel genuine gratitude, not something grand and something simple and real. A moment of laughter, the warmth of sunlight, the breath you just took. As you focus on that feeling, you'll notice your breath deepens naturally. Your shoulders loosen. The space around you feels a little wider. That's coherence. Your heart's electromagnetic field is synchronizing with your brain. Your nervous system is shifting from survival to creation. The more often you practice this, the more your brain learns to prefer this state. It begins to release chemicals of repair instead of stress. Your immune system strengthens. Your perception expands. You start to see possibilities where before you saw problems. You stop reacting and start responding. Every time you enter this state, you're teaching your brain a new rhythm, one based on harmony, not defense. This is the real power of thought, not to control the world outside, but to master the energy within. When you become calm, your environment begins to reorder itself. People treat you differently. Opportunities flow more easily. It's not a coincidence, it's resonance. The external starts matching the internal frequency you've been training. The secret of transformation isn't in thinking harder, it's in feeling deeper. Because the universe doesn't respond to the words you say, it responds to the energy you mean. When you think clearly and feel gratitude at the same time, you broadcast coherence, a frequency that reorganizes chaos into order. You stop being a reactor in the world and become a transmitter of balance. Your thoughts no longer drain your energy, they generate it. They become living currents, reshaping the matter of your reality. And you'll begin to notice something subtle but profound. The world no longer feels random. Your days start to unfold with a quiet intelligence. Synchronicities appear, the right people, the right words, the right moments. They begin to arrive effortlessly, because you're no longer trying to control the energy around you. You're simply becoming it. That's the shift, from chaos to coherence, from thought as noise to thought as creation. In the next chapter, you'll learn what happens when the mind grows quiet, when you stop chasing thoughts, and allow the silence between them to reveal its power. Because silence isn't the absence of energy, it's the field where all energy begins. Chapter 3. Neural fatigue and the power of silence. There's a kind of exhaustion that no amount of sleep can fix. You wake up tired, not because your body didn't rest, but because your mind never stopped running. Even in your dreams it was busy, solving problems that don't exist, replaying moments that are already gone, worrying about futures that haven't arrived. This is the hidden fatigue of the modern human, neural exhaustion. It happens quietly, like a background hum. You don't notice it at first. You just start losing your spark. Your patience shortens, your focus drifts, and even beauty feels slightly out of reach. Your brain isn't broken. It's simply overwhelmed by the noise. Thoughts have been firing for too long without rest. You've been living with the mind switched on, but never in silence. We live in a world that worships speed. Productivity has become a religion, and silence a forgotten art. The brain, however, was never designed for endless motion. It was designed for rhythm, periods of activity followed by intervals of stillness. That's how it consolidates memory, restores chemistry, and clears the neural pathways clogged by constant stimulation. Every time you scroll, check, react, respond, your neurons fire like sparks in a storm. At first, that storm feels alive, exciting even, but over time it burns through the brain's energy reserves. You begin to experience neural fatigue, the inability to think clearly, the sense of fog behind the eyes, the loss of joy in things you once loved. It's not weakness, it's depletion. The mind consumes about 20% of the body's energy. Every thought costs fuel, every worry drains voltage, every emotional replay keeps the nervous system lit up like a city that never sleeps. And when the circuits are overloaded, the body sends warning signals: irritability, anxiety, forgetfulness, fatigue. We call them moods, but they're really messages. The brain's way of whispering, "Please give me space." But we rarely listen. We think silence is wasted time. We think stillness is laziness. So we fill every gap with noise, and in doing so, we starve the brain of its most essential nutrient: quiet. What if silence isn't the absence of activity, but the reset button of the mind? What if, instead of fearing stillness, you could use it as medicine? Here's what neuroscience reveals. When you close your eyes and withdraw attention from the outside world, your brain enters a mode called the default network. It's the system that organizes memories, solves complex problems, and integrates emotion into wisdom. But it can only function when you stop filling your mind with noise. Silence isn't empty, it's intelligent. It's the space where your neurons synchronize, where chaotic brain waves begin to form coherent patterns. In that state, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for clarity, vision, and higher reasoning, reclaims leadership from the emotional brain. The fog begins to lift. The nervous system cools down. Your inner rhythm returns. The absence of thought becomes the presence of awareness, and awareness is the true rest your mind has been craving. Let's make silence practical. You don't need an hour, you don't even need 10 minutes, you only need one. This is the 1-minute reset. A simple ritual that retrains your nervous system to relax on command. Pause. Wherever you are, a desk, a bus, a kitchen, stop for 60 seconds. Close your eyes. Let the external world fade. The moment you turn your attention inward, your brain begins to shift from high-frequency beta waves, alertness, to slower alpha waves, calm focus. Breathe through the nose, slowly. Count 4 as you inhale, hold for 2, and exhale through the mouth for 6. Imagine you are releasing static electricity from your mind. Feel the space behind your eyes. That's the center of awareness. Just notice the sensations there. The tingling, the light, the stillness. Don't think. Observe. When thoughts appear, don't fight them. See them as clouds passing through the sky of your mind. You are the sky, not the weather. After 60 seconds, open your eyes. You'll feel a subtle difference, as if your brain just took a deep breath. Do this once in the morning, once midday, and once before sleep. 3 minutes total. That's all it takes to start retraining your brain, to rest instead of react. Within days, you'll notice sharper focus, deeper sleep, and an almost invisible calm that follows you into every situation. Because silence isn't escape, it's alignment. It reconnects your awareness to the body's intelligence. It teaches your brain to stop searching and start listening. Neural fatigue isn't cured by coffee or willpower. It's healed by rhythm, the sacred balance between sound and stillness, thought and awareness, doing and being. Every time you enter silence, you allow your mind to reset its circuitry. The brain's electrical storm quiets, its waves synchronize, and you begin to touch the deeper current underneath the noise. A stillness that feels alive, awake, and vast. That silence is not emptiness. It's intelligence resting in itself. It's the field where creativity is born, where intuition becomes audible, where peace stops being an idea and becomes a presence. The truth is, you don't find silence. You remember it. It has always been there, waiting beneath the layers of mental movement. Once you rediscover it, you'll begin to realize that clarity, focus, and vitality don't come from doing more. They come from doing less, from giving space for the mind to breathe, from allowing stillness to do what effort never could, restore you to coherence. In the next chapter, we'll explore the emotional side of this transformation. How unhealed emotions drain your energy, and how awareness can reprogram them into strength, because silence opens the door, but it's emotion that walks you through it. Chapter 4. Reprogramming the emotional body. Every emotion leaves a trace. You may forget the event, but your body doesn't. It remembers the tone of the voice that hurt you, the tension of an argument, the weight of words that made you feel small. It remembers the thrill of love, the spark of inspiration, the calm of being seen and understood. Each of these moments carries a chemical signature. The brain sends the signal, the body stores the response. Over time, these emotional imprints become the language your cells speak in silence. They dictate how you breathe, how you stand, how you perceive the world. When you say, "I just feel this way," it isn't imagination. It's memory. A physiological echo repeating itself until it's rewritten. Here's the problem. Most people don't know they're living in the past. They wake up every day with the same emotions they went to bed with. Anxiety, resentment, guilt, regret. Believing they're responding to the present, when in truth they're reliving an old script written long ago. The mind remembers stories, the body remembers the feelings those stories created. And unless you intervene, those feelings loop endlessly, turning experience into repetition. That's why even after changing your surroundings, you can still feel trapped inside yourself. Why new opportunities feel familiar? Why do the same conflicts keep finding you? Why peace seems like something that happens to other people? It's not fate, it's programming. The emotional body is operating on stored data, reacting faster than the conscious mind can think. Every time you replay anger, the body releases the same chemistry. Every time you revisit fear, the heartbeat accelerates again. You don't need to be in danger. Your body just needs the memory of danger to recreate the sensation. So you live in a loop of emotional déjà vu, different day, same vibration. The nervous system becomes addicted to its own chemicals, not because they feel good, but because they feel familiar. And familiarity, to the survival brain, means safe. This is how pain becomes identity. The body forgets how to exist without the tension it's used to. But what if you could teach the body to remember something else? What if you could replace that old chemical symphony with a new one that plays in harmony with the future you desire? It begins with a single realization. You are not your emotions. You are the awareness that feels them. The moment you can observe an emotion without becoming it, you've already begun to reprogram the body. Here's the paradox. You don't heal emotions by resisting them. You heal them by giving them your full conscious attention. Emotion is energy in motion. It just wants to complete its movement. When you suppress it, it gets trapped. When you observe it, it dissolves. So instead of asking, "How do I get rid of this feeling?" ask, "What is this feeling trying to teach me before it leaves?" Each emotion carries intelligence. Anger shows you where your boundaries were crossed. Sadness shows you where your heart still remembers love. Fear shows you where you're disconnected from trust. The key is not to suppress emotion, but to liberate it from the body through awareness. Here's a practice to start reprogramming the emotional body. The observation ritual. Find a quiet place. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Step 1. Name it. Bring to mind a feeling that has been heavy lately. Tension, anxiety, sadness, anything. Don't run from it. Don't analyze it. Just name it, as if saying hello. Fear, anger, grief. Step 2. Locate it. Where does it live in your body? Your chest, your stomach, your throat. Place your hand there. Feel its temperature, its shape, its density. Step 3. Allow it. Give the emotion permission to exist. Breathe into it without judgment. Say silently, "You are allowed to be here." You'll notice that as you stop resisting, the feeling begins to change. It might grow, shift, or soften. That's energy moving. Step 4. Listen. Ask the emotion quietly, "What are you trying to show me?" You may not get words, and you might get an image, a memory, a simple knowing. Trust it. Step 5. Transform it. Now breathe in through your heart and imagine the breath as light, soft, radiant, golden. With every inhale, let that light flow into the area where the emotion was stored. With every exhale, release what no longer belongs to you. Do this for 1 or 2 minutes. When you open your eyes, notice the shift. It's subtle, but real. The body feels more spacious, the mind quieter, the energy lighter. This is how reprogramming happens, not through suppression, but through awareness and release. The more you practice this, the more your body learns a new baseline. Peace stops feeling foreign. It starts feeling normal. You begin to attract experiences that match that internal tone. You stop replaying the old story and start composing a new one. Your body is not your enemy. It's your most loyal student. It learns what you teach it, and it repeats what you rehearse. If you rehearse tension, it memorizes defense. If you rehearse gratitude, it memorizes expansion. The body follows the emotional pattern you practice most often. That's why healing isn't about finding new ideas. It's about feeling new emotions. You can't think your way into peace. You must feel your way there. When you hold a calm emotion long enough, your chemistry begins to match it. Your cells respond, your energy reorganizes, and suddenly the future doesn't feel distant. It feels familiar, as if you've already lived it. That's the sign your body and mind are finally in agreement. You've taught your body to believe in a new reality. The emotional past dissolves. The energetic future begins. Every breath you take with awareness. It is a small act of liberation. Every time you choose to observe instead of react, you're telling your cells, "We are safe now." That's how transformation begins. Not by fighting emotion, but by becoming conscious within it. In the next chapter, you'll discover how these small emotional victories turn into lasting transformation. how repetition, ritual, and micro-habits train your brain to sustain coherence and focus. Because awareness changes everything, but practice makes it permanent. Chapter 5. The Micro-Habits that Rebuild the Brain. Change doesn't begin with revelation, it begins with repetition. The most powerful transformations aren't born in temples, retreats, or breakthroughs. They begin in kitchens, at desks, in traffic lights. In those quiet, ordinary moments where you decide to do one thing differently than you did yesterday. That single act, taking a conscious breath, choosing gratitude, drinking water slowly, sitting in silence instead of scrolling. It may look small, but to your brain it's everything. Because the brain doesn't change through ideas, it changes through evidence. It waits for you to prove, again and again, that the new path is safe. Every micro-habit you repeat becomes proof. Every small action whispered consistently tells your neurons, build this, strengthen this, keep this. The extraordinary grows from the microscopic, and in that invisible repetition, your future self begins to take shape. The reason most people never change is not because they don't know what to do. It's because they underestimate the power of the small. They chase big shifts, big moments, big results. They start strong and fade fast. The nervous system, overwhelmed by drastic change, snaps back to the old baseline, to the comfort of what's familiar. Neuroscience calls this homeostasis, the body's desire to stay the same. When you flood it with too much novelty, it resists, not out of malice but out of protection. That's why resolutions fail, why diets break, why habits don't hold. The body is simply trying to return to what it knows. But here's the paradox. Your brain will always fight massive, sudden change, yet it will obey consistent, gentle repetition. Small steps are how the brain learns trust. Small steps are how you sneak past the guard of the subconscious. If you tell the body we're becoming someone new, it panics. If you whisper, let's breathe differently just for a minute, it relaxes, and the door opens. That's how rewiring begins, through humble constancy, through rituals that seem too simple to matter, and yet are powerful enough to rebuild identity itself. So ask yourself, what if transformation isn't about effort, but about rhythm? Imagine your brain as a garden of pathways. Each thought is a footstep through that soil. The more you walk the same path, the clearer it becomes. The less you walk, the faster it disappears beneath the grass. Your daily rituals are footsteps. They carve the terrain of who you are becoming. When you begin to hydrate consciously, you're not just drinking water. You're telling your cells, I care about your flow. When you pause to breathe before responding, you're not delaying a reaction. You're teaching your nervous system that peace is your new default. When you take 60 seconds of silence each morning, you're reminding your brain that focus and rest can coexist. Every repetition is a conversation with your future self. You're proving to your biology that calm is not weakness, that clarity is not luxury, that presence is the new pattern worth keeping. Let's build a simple architecture of change. 3 micro-habits that, practiced daily, retrain the brain for coherence, clarity, and vitality. 1. The morning alignment. The first 3 minutes of your day set your frequency. Before you touch your phone or speak a word, sit on the edge of your bed, close your eyes, and inhale deeply. As you breathe, place your hand over your heart and say quietly, today, I choose awareness. Feel the pulse beneath your palm. That rhythm is your anchor. By linking thought and feeling in this way, you're connecting the electrical and magnetic centers of your body, the brain and the heart. Do this for 60 seconds. Your nervous system will start the day synchronized instead of scattered. 2. The 30-second breath reset. Throughout the day when tension builds, emails, noise, decisions, pause for 30 seconds. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 2, and exhale gently for 6. Imagine stress leaving your body as vapor. Repeat this sequence 3 times. The vagus nerve will signal your entire system to relax. Blood pressure drops, focus returns, energy stabilizes. That's not imagination. It's biology responding to rhythm. 3. The night of gratitude. Before sleep, review your day, not to judge, but to bless it. Recall 3 moments, however small, that felt good. A smile, a warm drink, a lesson learned. Breathe gratitude into each one as if storing light for tomorrow. This practice shifts the chemistry of the brain, from cortisol to serotonin and melatonin, preparing the body for deep restoration. You fall asleep not in worry, but in coherence. These 3 habits, morning alignment, breath reset, night gratitude, take less than 5 minutes combined. But to your brain, they are reprogramming commands. They remind it daily of who you're becoming. And as you repeat them, new neural pathways form. Bridges to a calmer, more conscious self. Transformation is not an event. It's a frequency you tune to each day. When you honor the small begins to honor you. Your energy rises subtly. Your reactions soften. Your clarity sharpens. Soon you'll notice something extraordinary. The habits no longer feel like effort. They become instinct. Your body begins to crave peace the way it once craved stimulation. Your brain seeks stillness the way it once sought distraction. That's when you know the rewiring is complete. The new pattern has become your nature. You no longer try to be mindful, you simply are. You no longer fight to stay positive, you simply think from coherence. Each micro-habit was a seed. Together, they've grown into a new landscape of mind. And within that inner landscape, energy flows freely again. Not wasted on survival, but directed toward creation. Because once your daily rhythm aligns with awareness, life stops being something you manage and becomes something that moves effortlessly through you. In the next chapter, you'll discover what happens when all these practices converge, when the obedient brain, the coherent heart, and the emotional body merge into a single field of living energy. We'll explore how thought becomes vibration and vibration becomes manifestation. The moment you stop reaching for reality and begin radiating it. Chapter 6. Becoming energy itself. There comes a moment in every awakening when you realize you are not inside your body is inside you, not metaphorically, literally. Your awareness, the field of energy that perceives and animates this life. It is not confined by skin or bone. It's vast, radiant, intelligent, and it extends far beyond what the senses can grasp. You can feel this truth when you're deeply still. Close your eyes. Notice the air between you and the walls. Now feel that the space isn't empty. It's alive, vibrating, listening. That field responds to your inner state. When you think clearly and feel coherently, the field around you becomes ordered. When you think chaotically and feel fearfully, it becomes distorted. You are not just moving through energy. You are shaping it, constantly. For most of your life, you've been taught to see yourself as separate. A body among billions, a mind trapped behind the eyes. You were told that energy is something outside you, something you consume, measure, or deplete. And so, you began living as a closed circuit, cut off from the infinite current that flows through all things. You tried to get energy from food, from sleep, from others, yet still felt drained, because true energy doesn't come from consumption. It comes from coherence. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are misaligned, you leak energy like water through a sieve. You overthink, you overreact, you exhaust yourself, chasing stability in an unstable mind. That is the hidden cause of fatigue, the unseen drain behind frustration and burnout, disconnection from your own energetic source. The human system was designed to be regenerative. It's the only technology that can recharge itself from within. But when you live in survival mode, always preparing for a threat, defending against the future, analyzing the past, you cut the wire that connects you to the infinite current of creation. You can't receive when your frequency is fear. You can't create when your energy is scattered. To restore flow, you must return to your origin, to the truth that everything you perceive is consciousness vibrating at different speeds. Slow vibrations feel solid, fast ones feel ethereal, but they're all the same substance. The one life, expressing itself in countless forms, and you are that life. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean, expressing itself as a drop. So here's the question. If everything is energy, and you are energy, then who are you when you stop identifying with the body, the name, the story? What remains when you strip away the roles, the memories, the expectations? What's left is pure awareness, the presence that has been silently observing every moment of your life. It never ages, it never rushes, it never breaks. That's who you truly are. Not the thinker, but the awareness behind thought. Not the emotion, but the field in which emotion moves. The more you recognize yourself in this awareness, the more your energy rises. Because awareness is the highest frequency of all. It's what turns chaos into order, matter into light. Every spiritual tradition has said this in its own language. The kingdom is within you. The divine spark dwells inside. The observer is the source. Science calls it the quantum field, the invisible fabric connecting all particles of existence. But names don't matter. What matters is the realization that you are already part of it. Not metaphorically, but electromagnetically. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field, measurable several feet from your body. Your brain radiates waves that shift with your attention. Every thought you think is a signal sent into the field. Every feeling you sustain is the magnet that draws reality back to you. Once you understand this, you stop trying to force outcomes and start tuning frequencies. You don't chase, you align, you don't fight for change, you become it. Let's make this real. Here's a simple yet profound practice to awaken your energy identity. 1. Enter the field. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly until your body feels soft. Then, shift your attention from the body itself to the space around it. Sense that the space isn't empty. It's full of vibrating potential. Stay with that sensation. Let your awareness expand like a sphere. First around your chest, then around your entire body, then beyond it. You're not imagining. You're remembering. You've just stepped into the field consciously. 2. Charge the field. Now, bring to mind a feeling that elevates you. Gratitude, joy, love, peace. Don't just think it. Feel it until it saturates your chest. Let that emotion expand outward, filling the entire space you're sensing. As you do this, the heart's electromagnetic field begins to synchronize with the brain's rhythm. Coherence increases. Your energy becomes structured. Stay here for a few breaths. You'll feel warmth, tingling, or quiet fullness. That's your frequency rising. 3. Direct the field. Once you're in that state, think of a future experience you want to create. Not as a wish, but as a memory from the future. See it. Feel it. Believe it's already unfolding. Your brain records imagined experiences. Almost the same way it records real ones, you're literally programming the field. With instructions drawn from emotion, the key is to feel the emotion of it now, before it appears. That emotion is the energetic signature of your new reality. Do this daily, even for 2 minutes. You'll notice subtle shifts, synchronicities, ease, opportunities that feel magnetically drawn to you, because energy moves toward order, and your coherence is the order the universe responds to. Becoming energy itself doesn't mean abandoning the human experience. It means remembering that the human is an instrument of the divine current. The body is not a prison, it's a portal. Every cell vibrates with intelligence. Every heartbeat echoes the rhythm of creation. When you feel connected, you stop asking life to give you more, because you realize you are life, overflowing into form. This is the highest state of being, to live as consciousness embodied. To think with clarity, feel with love, and act with intention so pure that your presence itself becomes a transmission. You no longer do alignment. You are alignment. You no longer seek energy. You emanate it. Your frequency speaks louder than your words. Your calm influences rooms before you enter them. Your inner order becomes external harmony. That is the final secret of transformation. When your inner energy stabilizes, reality stops testing you and starts reflecting you. You have become the tuning fork of creation. a living bridge between matter and spirit, earth and sky, form and formlessness. And from this state, everything that unfolds in your life feels less like coincidence and more like a conversation, because the universe is no longer outside you. It is speaking through you. You've now reached the end of this journey, but not its completion, because energy doesn't end. It evolves, circulates, returns. In the epilogue, we'll seal everything you've learned into one realization. That creation isn't something you do. It's something you become. Let's complete the circle. Epilogue, the new neural identity. There comes a day when you wake up and the noise inside you is gone. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. The thoughts that once raced to define you feel distant now, like voices echoing through a hallway you no longer live in. The emotions that used to flood your body still visit from time to time, but they no longer own you. Something fundamental has shifted. You've stopped identifying with the storm and began to identify with the sky. And in that quiet realization, you feel something unmistakable. Peace, not as an idea, but as a presence. It's not something you reach for, it's something you are. For most of your life, you were taught to find yourself in reflection. In your name, your history, your opinions, your roles. You built your identity around what the world mirrored back. But the mirrors kept changing. Sometimes they praised you, sometimes they judged you. And every time they did, you adjusted your sense of self just a little. You became the sum of reactions, a moving target of validation and doubt. That's why you felt unstable. Your identity depended on everything that could be taken away. The mind believed, if I can think more, do more, prove more, I'll finally be enough. But the harder you tried, the more you felt disconnected. From others, from life, from yourself. Because no matter how much you achieved or learned or controlled, one truth remained unspoken beneath it all. You were never meant to find yourself in the noise, but beneath it. Identity is not what you think. It's what you radiate. It's the frequency you hold when no one is watching. The emotion you return to when you stop pretending, and when that inner frequency stabilizes. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions vibrate in coherence, the external world must reorganize to match it. You are no longer reacting to reality. You are instructing it. That's what it means to live as your new neural identity. To think, feel, and act from the energy of who you've become, not the memory of who you were. Your brain no longer runs the old programs of fear and doubt. Your body no longer craves the chemistry of survival. The loops of stress that once hijacked your focus have been replaced with new circuits of peace and purpose. Your nervous system, once chaotic, has learned the language of coherence. Your cells have learned to respond to your thoughts of harmony. You've moved from reaction to creation, from thinking as a human being, to feeling as a field of energy aware of itself. This is not imagination, it's biology in evolution. So, how do you live from this new identity? The answer is simple. Don't go back to sleep. Stay conscious in the small moments. When the old voice returns with doubt or fear, don't fight it. Just smile and remember. That's the echo of an outdated self. You've outgrown that frequency. You can observe it now without believing it. Then, reconnect to your new rhythm. Breathe deeply. Feel the space behind your heart. Let that space expand until calm returns. You are no longer the thinker of fearful thoughts. You are the witness, the conductor, the presence beneath them. And when you live with that awareness, when you act from coherence instead of reaction, life stops being random. Synchronicity becomes normal. You begin to meet versions of yourself you never thought existed, wiser, lighter, more centered, more creative. Because the new identity isn't something you create. It's something you remember. It was always waiting behind the noise, behind the survival patterns, behind the story of who you thought you had to be. And now you've returned to it. There's a quiet line between who you were and who you are now. The world might not see it right away, but you can feel it. In your breathing, your focus, your silence. You've stopped moving through life as a fragment and began to move as a whole. you've realized that your mind is not just a machine for thought, but a bridge between heaven and earth, a conductor of divine intelligence translated into form. And now you know peace is not passive, it's powerful. Stillness is not emptiness, it's full presence. You don't chase energy anymore, you are energy, and the world responds to that certainty. This is your new neural identity. Not defined by the past, not dependent on circumstance, but anchored in consciousness itself. From this point forward, you don't think your future into existence. You feel it into being. You embody it. You radiate it. And the universe, obeying the resonance of your vibration, brings everything into harmony around you. Because that's what happens. When the observer and the observed finally become one. So when this recording ends, don't let the silence feel like absence. Let it feel like arrival. You've come home to the center of yourself, where thought becomes creation, emotion becomes energy, and energy becomes life. Remember this truth. You are not learning to be powerful. You are remembering that you always were. And from this remembrance, your new life begins.